You gaze upon death, 7 skulls, 7 coins, 7 deadly sins. The gaze of Satan is fixed upon you, a gaze of absolute intensity, hanging in a state of suspension, a suspension that itself lingers on the narrowest edge of time between heaven and earth, where he reigns as the Lord of the world, and the coin he holds is an offer meant for you. This is Allegory of Satan, also known as Lord of the World, created by Ludwig Stasiak at the threshold between one century and the next. In 1900, Ludwig Stasiak created a painting that challenges the very order of the world. Satan, instead of dwelling in darkness, sits atop earthly power, and humans, with their greed and pride, willingly submit to his dominion. But why did Stasiak create this masterpiece? And what bitter, cautionary message lies hidden within each of its details? Ludwig Stasiak was born in 1858 in Poland, at a time when his homeland no longer existed as an independent nation and had been partitioned among the empires of Russia, Prussia, and Austria. Trained within the European academic tradition, Stasiak studied first in Krakow and later in Munich, where his artistic language took shape under the influence of late 19th century symbolism and realism. What makes Stasiak particularly noteworthy is his position at the threshold between 2 centuries. He was a deeply religious artist living in an age marked by profound transformations, the rise of mass industrialization, the spread of philosophical materialism, the decline of traditional monarchies, and an increasing skepticism toward established religious values. His works reflect precisely this tension between tradition and modernity, between faith and doubt. His painting Allegory of Satan was created in 1900, a symbolic year that signalled not merely the end of a century, but the close of an entire era, an ideal moment for a profound meditation on the state of the world. At the centre of the image, Satan sits on his throne, staring directly at us. But he is not monstrous or terrifying. He is fully human, with a smile that balances between amusement and mockery, radiating contempt for the entire world. On his head sits an unusual hat, a 3-cornered shape, a hybrid of a jester's cap and a clerical headdress. This ambiguity is key. Satan presents himself as the ruler of the world, but his crown is a display, a mimicry, a metaphor for religious hypocrisy and the mockery of power and kingship. He is simultaneously jester, king, and religious leader, a dissonant fusion of authority, corruption, and absurdity. He is clad in opulent garments, a red robe and a dark green cloak adorned with gold. The colours are deliberate. In traditional symbolism, red represents earthly power, blood, passion, and sin. Green in medieval Christian imagery often symbolises hope, but in darker contexts, it carries envy and corruption. In his left hand he holds a gilded staff, clearly resembling a papal crozier or bishop's staff of office. At the top of the staff, a tiny figure, a little demon or gargoyle, perches. It evokes statues of sacrificial gods from Phoenician and Babylonian traditions, and most importantly, echoes medieval Christian imagery. Satan as imitator of God, a counterfeit of spiritual authority, deeply Catholic in conception. In his right hand, he lifts a gold coin between 2 fingers, one of the painting's most crucial symbols. The coin points to the sin of greed, one of the 7 deadly sins. Held at eye level, it is a gesture of temptation, as if offering a bargain, the very lure for which humans willingly submit to his dominion. It references the biblical temptation of Christ in the wilderness, where Satan offers all the kingdoms of the world, and also the legendary 30 pieces of silver of Judas. In Christian tradition, money is the quintessential symbol of betrayal. Here, Satan embodies the deceiver, tempting humanity with wealth. Critics note that in the historical context of the work, the coin symbolises how modern humans trade their souls for material gain. Moving just below, 2 lions flank the throne. They are traditional symbols of power, nobility, and royal majesty. In Christian iconography, the lion often represents Christ as the Lion of Judah, but here, the lion serves Satan, showing that earthly power, even when it seems legitimate and noble, can become corrupt and fall under dark influence. The lions gaze calmly ahead, almost complicit, with no trace of aggression, radiating an unsettling serenity, as if fully reconciled with their role as guardians of the ruler of darkness. The painting is full of iconographic inversions, but none as striking as Satan's placement. Suspended between heaven and earth, he recalls traditional depictions of Christ in glory. Christ as King of the world, seated on a throne, elevated above the earth, surrounded by angels or divine symbols. Stasiak deliberately mirrors this but inverts it. A blasphemous Christomimesis. In the Gospel of John, Jesus refers to Satan as the prince of this world. Christian theology holds that after the fall, Satan gains temporary dominion over the material world, though this ends at the final judgment. In this painting, Stasiak asserts, Satan now rules the world, a sacrilegious imitation of Christ, detailed meticulously even in the smallest elements. Notice his posture, the pathology of dominance. Legs apart, spine straight, hands raised, chin slightly lifted. This is the stance of dictators, tyrant kings, and undisputed rulers. His face shows no fatigue, doubt, or fear. He embodies psychopathy, narcissism, and Machiavellianism, psychological traits collectively known as the Dark Triad. Stasiak's Satan fully embodies them. The bat-like wings are perhaps the most theatrical element. Vast, unfurled, creating a dark frame around his figure, signalling that all under his command exists in shadow. They evoke the wings of demons in hell, frequently depicted by great painters, and most strikingly, Dante's image of Lucifer, trapped in the frozen Cocytus, eternally flapping his wings. Yet here, Satan is not in hell. He is at the pinnacle of the image, seated on a throne, sovereign, smiling, in full control. The throne itself is remarkable, adorned with coins and medallions set into its structure, forming geometric patterns. These details hold special significance for the turn of the 19th century, the Victorian and Belle Epoque eras, marked by unprecedented accumulation of wealth, economic imperialism, and the literal worship of gold as the new god of modernity. The throne rests on a platform seemingly surrounded by water, an island of power, emphasizing both the elevated and isolated nature of this dominion. The dominion above and below is deliberately ambiguous. The cloudy sky could signify dawn or dusk, a perfect metaphor for the turn of an era. Is this the end of one age or the beginning of another? Stasiak suspends this question between heaven and earth. Yet perhaps the most telling element lies at the base. Look at the fallen coins. The 7 coins seem to spill into the frame from beyond its edges, drawing the viewer forward like irresistible bait towards Satan's throne. On either side lie 7 human skulls, prey drawn by Satan's temptations, all meeting inevitable destruction. But what do the 7 coins and 7 skulls signify? In Stasiak's Allegory of Satan, the composition based on the number 7 reflects the structure of the 7 deadly sins, the parallel presence of 7 skulls, 7 coins, and Satan as earthly ruler and spiritual authority firmly situates the painting within 19th century Catholic tradition. It critiques the moral, political, and economic corruption of Europe, following the Catholic symbolic tradition, especially the Polish variant, where Satan, as imitatio ecclesiae, falsifies religious and political power, entrapping humanity in a cycle of 7-fold sin. Each skull mirrors one or more deadly sins: pride, greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony, and sloth. They are adorned with symbolic details. A skull with a top hat, symbolizing 19th century bourgeois bankers and merchants, and another with a gilded crown and jewels, evoking greed. A skull with a military helmet representing a soldier or warlord, reflecting wrath. A skull with a large fur hat, reminiscent of traditional Caucasian or Russian hat, symbolizing envy, especially among aristocrats vying for proximity to power. Another skull with a military helmet, adorned with peacock feathers symbolizing pride. The eyes on the feathers create a hypnotic pattern, illustrating how the material world seduces humans. Together the skulls form a classic memento mori, a reminder that all earthly power, wealth and vanity ultimately lead to death. Yet a dark irony lies here. In Baroque vanitas, skulls urged virtue. Here they are trophies of Satan's dominion, a sign of his control over death and corruption. Some ornamental objects protrude from the rest, as if death hides within beauty and luxury, offering a profoundly cynical view of the material world. And this is why every painting tells a story. This work is more than a painting. It is a bitter statement on the end of an era, the rise of materialism, the collapse of moral and religious values, and a warning to modern humanity about the true cost of power and wealth. Stasiak left us not only a warning but also a mirror, one in which we see not Satan, but our own reflection, confronting our pride, greed and temptations.